2019 we are celebrating even two special anniversaries. Therefore, we have literally chosen the sonorous motto. I do not have to tell you that this symphony is not a sound of silence.
This car has been faithfully rebuilt in Italy on a chassis of a BMW 2002, which was registered in Italy. One of the true car design greats, Mr. Marcello Gandini. Ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome from Mr. Marcello Gandini. Buonasera, caro Marcello, per essere con noi stasera. Lei cosa pensa oggi di questo disegno?
Ringraziare per avermi invitato a questa cosa, molto piacevole, molto carina.
Oh my God, this would be amazing.
And your man restored that, didn't he? Modern, yeah.
Marcus Schramm from BMW. Good afternoon and welcome.
That's a great feeling. First of all,
Thank you.
Molto Müller, molto Morini, Aprilia, Gilera, tanti Cavallero.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
Thanks for giving us a little anteprima of the motorcycles for tomorrow. I can feel a few drops in italiano davanti prima di tutto un cordiale benvenuto a tutti. Quest'anno festeggiamo il 90° anniversario della macchina. Il presidente del mondo di Piazza Ulrich Klinz con Danilo Zucchetti, il direttore dell'hotel Villa d'Este, appropriately enough with a Villa d'Este umbrella. Tell us about the differences between BMW then and BMW now.
Yeah, hello everybody, first of all. Good to have you here, and we just ignore the rain, it will stop in a few seconds again.
The concept car was built for the 1970 Geneva show. Adrian Van Hooydonk, the head of BMW. Marcello Gandini in the BMW Garmisch. The concept car that was built for the 1970 Geneva show that was subsequently lost and recreated. Minerva was a fantastic, if you like, it was the Belgian Rolls Royce. I think if you were a young man in 1929, this was the sort of car that you aspired to own. Long before the days of Enzo Ferrari. 1955, so the same year, but rather than Milan, we're down in Modena for the Ferrari 250 GT Competizione. The flagship of BMW production was this car, the BMW 507, shown here today by the May collection. Make way, Mr. Collins waiting. Class E, the swinging 60s, and the sky is the limit. Come a little bit further forward, William, if you would. Christoph Schmidt in the passenger seat, who helped supervise the restoration. Now this is a class where we wanted to celebrate the relationship between musicians. A little bit further. That's perfect. Now I told you he was a serial car buyer, and it's a good thing he was called Little Tony. So he was called Guido Anton at the wheel of the Oscar MT4 of Jack Kingsley Crowe. The voice maker, and a little further. The 1964 CD Panhard LM64. The Panhard Camel car. It looks like a fixture. Seraphim with the irrepressible Richard Dickey Gauntlet as copiloto. I'm going to stand away from that exhaust before you fire it up, Philip. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Its debut here in Italy is a car that was first shown at the Geneva Summit, bodied by Bertone. Now, if you tell me what, this is one of the most bizarre cars we've ever had in Benedeste. Wow! This is its Italian Concord debut post-restoration. Exactly what it shows. Now, still in 1967, this is the future as imagined by Alex Tremulis, the head of the Ford Advanced. Cannot wait to see you stop. Howdy. I'm doing good, Jim. You obviously look like you're expecting some serious velocity with the 4-point harnesses in this car. Now, if my memory is correct, years earlier with the Carabo, and Paolo Martin at Pininfarina said, we need to show the world that we don't just make sensible sports cars, we can rock as well. And it took 2 years. From the US of A, once again, Jim Clickenhouse with the 1970 Ferrari Motorol. If I can ask you to join me here with Ulrich Knips and Daniel Zucchetti, the trophy is being readied. And we are about to give out the Coppa d'Oro Benedeste, which traditionally every year is awarded to the car that you, the public, vote by popular referendum as your car of the event. questa è la Bianchi meravigliosa, guardate l'eleganza di Mr. Benito Bastiani, very elegant. Congratulations Benito. E signore e signori, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment to raise your views and make out for every participant. E nel frattempo noi possiamo dedicare la nostra serata
Symphony of Memory. E tutto come sinfonia,
vanta tutta una serie di dispositivi, il basamento motore è addirittura in lega di magnesio, stiamo parlando di
per cercare di capire, una volta da vendita in maniera innovativa tecnicamente.
So it's stamped, two stampings. That's stamped 5
Ed ecco la risposta dal Belgio alla Rolls Royce e la Minerva tipo AF di Laura e Jack Boyd. Vuol dire che consuma meno olio, però fa un sacco di fumo. Vi presentiamo la Bugatti Voiture. Difficile essere due concorrenti, la BMW 507 del museo BMW guidata da Ulrich Dix, presidente del concorso di eleganza, con Danilo Zucchetti, ieri facendo il tour l'altro giorno ci siamo fermati a Menaccio, per la prima volta sono stati rimasti a fare un giro come noi.
Deste ist sicher einer der traditionsreichen und auch ältesten Schönheitswettbewerbe für Automobile. Er ist immerhin 90 Jahre alt geworden. Das kombiniert mit dieser Location am Comer See und diesem wirklich außergewöhnlichen Hotel, das macht ihn schon mal als erstes schon mal sehr besonders. Zum Zweiten haben wir ja nicht nur Automobile hier, sondern eben auch Motorräder. Und das kommt einfach hinzu, dass wir hier alles, was sich fortbewegt, auf 2 oder 4 Rädern hier bei uns haben und diese Fahrzeuge treten gegeneinander an. Wir haben natürlich eine wahnsinnig gute Qualität an Fahrzeugen dieses Jahr, die jedes Jahr besser wird, muss ich sagen, weil es spricht sich immer mehr rum, dass man hier gewesen sein muss. Das ist the place to be, wenn ich auf einen Konkurse gehe. Und wir merken es, dass das Publikum immer internationaler wird und damit auch ganz tolle Fahrzeuge hier sind. Also wenn wir über Sound reden, dann muss man natürlich an die zeitgenössischen Concept Cars denken, an denen kommt man nicht vorbei. Es ist ein Ferrari Concept Car mit einer verschiebbaren Kuppel, den muss man gehört haben. Ja. Dann natürlich die klassischen Ferrari 12-Zylinder. Man muss sich vorstellen, ein 2 Liter 12-Zylinder-Motor aus den 60er Jahren in einer kleinen Barchetta. Das sind Töne, die hört man heutzutage nicht mehr. Aber so könnte ich Ihnen jetzt noch jedes weitere Auto beschreiben. Also es ist schon auch ein Fest für die Ohren und deswegen haben wir eben auch dieses Motto genommen, Symphony of the Engines. Und es gibt auch einen speziellen Preis, der eben den schönsten Sound eines Fahrzeugs dann auch belohnt. Und die Eigner waren aufgefordert, wenn die Jury vorbeikommt, auch mal den Motor zu starten und dass die Jury sich ein Bild von machen kann. The Concorso d'Eleganza Villa d'Este is one of the oldest vintage car event in the world, but I have to say, way back 90 years ago, in 1929, it was not a vintage car event because there were no vintage cars. We were talking about new, modern car concepts. This is, by the way, the reason why we still have the combination between old and new cars here. So we have this competition for vintage cars that are now vintage cars, but also for the modern concept cars we have here on the ground. Yeah, for sure, we are very proud of being able to cooperate with the Grand Hotel Villa d'Este. It's a unique event, together with the location and the hotel and the beautiful Lake Como. The scenery is just that unique, you won't find it anywhere else. This motto reflects one sense of human beings to hear something. And if you see an old or an historic car, and the engine is not running, it makes a big difference when you start the engine, and you can see it here. If there's one car starting the engines, immediately there's a crowd around the car and wants to see and listen what's it. So it's really, the picture is not complete if you don't hear the car. And since we have here engines that nobody would build these days again, like a 2-liter 12-cylinder engine from a little Ferrari Barchetta, or a V8 naturally aspirated in a Ferrari concept car, nobody would build these cars again, and so you won't hear the sound again. Yeah? And this is what you can do here, and this is why we contributed this prize for this aspect of an historic car. And we see that the people really appreciate this. They all start at the engines when the jury passed by and let them show to complete the picture what car is standing in front of them.
Concorso d'Eleganza for me is special because it's a celebration of design, and people appreciate the shapes for what they are, coming from the period that they were created. And so it's really a celebration of this creative effort that went into these cars. Of course, today our cars are produced in bigger numbers, which is good for many people in many ways. But here, when you look at them as one-off individual pieces of design, you can appreciate them much more. Of course, the scenery, the setting, the sun helps as well. The most inspiring era for each person, I guess, is different. It has somewhat to do with your age. For me, the 70s are quite an exciting era of car design. The show cars of that time, I think, are quite radical. still very modern looking today, and it happened to be the time, of course, that I got first interested in cars and car design. So I guess that's where that connection comes from. But here I think the designs from the 70s stand out because of their clarity, sometimes minimalism, but they are radical nonetheless.
In dem Bike steckt eigentlich die Idee, dass wir diese Klientel, die eher diese emotionalen Fahrzeuge haben will, dass wir die eigentlich ausbauen wollen. Das haben wir 2013 mit dem Concept 90 angefangen. 90 ist sehr erfolgreich und wir glauben, da ist noch mehr Platz und mehr Zeit für solche Motorräder. Die größte Herausforderung beim Motorrad wie diesem hier, das ist ganz klar, eigentlich die Technologie, die heute in so einem Fahrzeug drinstecken muss, und das ist sehr viel Technologie, die muss man so hinkriegen, dass es eigentlich nicht sichtbar ist. Also ein Naked Bike heute sehr clean und sehr sauber hinzukriegen, ist eine der größten Schwierigkeiten überhaupt. Und da sind wir schon sehr stolz drauf, muss ich auch sagen. Da hat das Team hervorragende Arbeit geleistet, dieses Motorrad so clean und so sauber hinzukriegen, wie es jetzt da steht. Ein Motorraddesigner hat das komplette Package an der Außenhaut. Das heißt, ein Motor, eine Schwinge, eine Achse, ein Bremssattel, also jede Sensorik fast liegt an der Außenhaut und ist sichtbar. Also all diese Dinge müssen gestaltet werden, die müssen eine gesamthafte Einheit ergeben. Und es ist eben sehr schwierig, diese Dinge, die man nicht sehen will, möglichst ordentlich zu verpacken. The idea behind that bike is actually when we presented in 2013 the R90, the concept R90, actually right here at this spot, we found out that this bike turned out to be very successful. So the 90 was a real success story for us, and we think there is much more room and space, and the time is right for another bike like this to subscribe this story. The greatest challenge on a bike like this, like on a naked bike, on a modern contemporary naked bike, is to hide away all the electronics and black boxes and all the stuff you need for homologation, but you don't want to see really. Because a bike like this, it lives from the elegance and from the simplicity, the power of simplicity. It's about proportions and look and feel, but you don't want to see all this technology stuff, what is needed, but you don't want to see it. And on a bike like this with almost no fairing, this is the biggest challenge to achieve a very clean look. As a motorbike designer, all the technology is on the outside, it's visible. So the engine, the shaft drives, the fork, the brake calipers, everything is visible, and it has to be designed, it has to have a nice look, it has to speak the semantics. And this is probably the biggest difference between these two ways of designing.
BMW hat eine lange Tradition von Supermotorrädern, der R5, der R16, eine Menge. Und wir wollten mit diesem Motorrad eine neue Interpretation machen von dieser Tradition, aber für moderne Zeit und für auch relevant für jetzige Personen und jetzige Kunden. Wo ich stolz auf bin, ist, wie das eigentlich die Proportion und wie das auf die Räder steht. Also das Fahrzeug sieht sehr stimmig und sehr gut proportioniert sieht das aus. Die Details sind allen sehr wichtig, den Motor, die Details wie der Vergaser, wie der Gabel. Aber eigentlich das Wichtige ist die Hauptproportion, das Verhältnis zwischen den Rädern und dem Motor, die Linien vom Rahmen, wie das auf die Räder steht. BMW has a very long tradition of classic motorcycles, the R5, the R16, and we have a big history. And we wanted to do with this motorcycle, reinterpret that history, but in a relevant and for today's customers. We are very proud of the proportions of the motorcycle, the way it sits on the wheels, and really the character comes through in the proportions. We have lots of nice details, but the main thing is how it sits on its wheels and the overall silhouette.
Ferrari, being a very frugal company, when they gave the chassis and the engine and the gearbox to Pininfarina, they kept the pistons and the connecting rod, so the car never drove. When the car was finished, Sergio Pininfarina just thought it was way too futuristic and he didn't like it. But then Bertone showed the Strato Zero at the Paris Auto Show, and everybody loved it. So he said, okay, we'll show Modulo. And Modulo was shown all over the world, and it was a very accepted car, and people really liked it. When I bought it, I wanted to make it run. And over a period of 4 years, we just very sympathetically finished the car. So we made the engine start, the gearbox work, we make the headlights so they can go on and up, the windshield wipers so they can work, the brakes so it can work on the road. And 2 days ago, we took it on its first drive in Maranello and Modena up in the mountains. I went 100 kilometers. The car was incredible to drive.
Das Fahrzeug wurde 1967 gebaut und wurde erstmals präsentiert in Monaco. Da ist Renier mit dem Auto gefahren, mit Grace Kelly. Und ja, dann wurde es eigentlich wieder ruhig um das Auto. Und im 2011 konnte man das hier ersteigern, was wir auch gemacht haben, von Bertone. Und stand dann bei uns eine. Und jetzt die letzten 5 Jahre haben wir das Auto restauriert. Hat jetzt seit 2 Wochen ein TÜV. Ja, ich bin überrascht, muss ich sagen, überwältigt, wie die Leute das Auto mögen.
It's the first car for Superleggera. Superleggera is a patented body system by Touring, and this is their first car. It is a Grand Prix car underneath. It is German design front independent suspension. It has twin carburetors, twin superchargers, twin cams, an enormous magneto. The 8-cylinder is a proven engine that won the Mille Miglia many times, was raced in. And then, so you have the independent suspension on the front. In the rear, it's a transaxle in 1937 with independent suspension again in the back. It is truly a Grand Prix chassis with a beautiful piece of architecture as coachwork.